So far in this series, we've looked a lot at what's happening with the legs, going up on the toes and swinging the leg. Today, we're going to focus in on the torso and highlight some starting points for considering how we want to move the torso as part of walking. As I said earlier in this series, the torso is what moves first in walking. Rather than what is typically done, which is stepping forward with one leg, we want to move the torso forward and allow one leg to catch up. When we move the torso forward, we have to be careful with how we do that. While most people do not move their torso as a whole forward of their legs when they walk, they do tend to move part of their torso forward to initiate walking. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, it should be no surprise that people tend to push their lower sternum and lower ribs forward when they walk. This is a problem we've obviously looked at before in standing, and we've also touched on it in going up on the toes. Even though your average person does not go up on their toes to walk, they still push their midsection forward when they walk, and this makes sense. Most people are habitually pushing their midsection forward nearly all the time, which means people are quite comfortable and familiar with this movement. So when a person needs to generate forward acceleration as they do when they walk, will they accelerate their upper sternum forward, which they habitually don't like to do? Of course not. They will push the lower end of their ribcage forward. If you observe yourself, you will likely find this is the case for you. Simply put one palm against the lower sternum lower ribs area and begin walking. You should be able to feel if you're initiating the forward movement with your lower rib cage. We must also consider the pelvis. This too should be unsurprising. Most people will tend to move their iliacs forward and down when they walk, which will lift the lower end of the sacrum. The sacrum is the sort of bony plate at the back of the pelvis. This, in conjunction with the movement of the lower rib cage, will lead to protrusion of the abdomen and hollowing of the back. The first inhibitory direction that we need is to slow down the movement forward of the lower rib cage and the iliacs. Then we can use the direction to lead the movement of the torso forward with the upper sternum and the lower sacrum. Remember, the idea here is to maintain the length of the torso as you walk. Now let's look at some simple ways to play with implementing these directions and give ourselves a little extra help. You can put a ruler or the spine of a book against your sternum going up and down. Most will find that their sternum is tilting back a bit at the top. As you walk, can you increase the acceleration of the upper end of the sternum and decrease the acceleration of the lower end? Can you make your sternum and the object vertical as you walk? Having a physical object showing the angle of the sternum should help you accomplish this. Another thing you can try will involve using either an elastic band, a scarf, or a stick. Place the band at the lower end of the sacrum and pull it forward with your hands. It will be a little more tricky with a stick, but it's the same idea. This can help you make sure you're going forward with your lower sacrum and not pushing the upper sacrum forward to walk. As we attempt to change how we walk, it's important to understand that a complete change will not happen overnight. We've amassed a few ideas here that we can try to put together. However, we do not need to be perfect to see improvement. Just pushing your midsection forward less, or not turning your heels in quite as much, is improvement, and will open the door to further improvement down the road. Changing how you walk can be a bit frustrating because our habits are so strong. For most of us, we've spent years or decades making our habits stronger. We've been pushing our midsection more and more forward to walk. So every little bit we fight back against that is going to be a benefit to our fascia. What I'm saying is, don't expect to just flip over to a totally different way of walking. Aim first at using your directions to make a visible change for just a few steps. And as you get better at sustaining that improvement, your baseline will get better, and naturally you'll have the opportunity for more improvement. You should be able to see that what we're doing here is not all that different from what we looked at in sitting and standing. We want to keep the torso lengthened and widened. If you're still ironing out the kinks on that in sitting and standing, Of course, walking while maintaining your torso is going to present a challenge. But if you can get some improvement going while walking, that should transfer over into your posture when you stop walking and are standing, sitting, or doing anything. The ideas we've looked at today by themselves should be immediately actionable, and if you pair them with what we've looked at in our broader conception of going up on the toes to swing the legs, you should see that they synergize with each other. So have a little fun playing with these ideas, then join me next episode, and we'll keep building out our model.